Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Swany, and today I'll be going over my beginner's guide for Oblivion Remastered. Now, this video is intended for players that are either returning to Oblivion after many years, or for those of you that never got around to playing the original Oblivion. Now, I'm willing to bet that a lot of you probably played Skyrim and just never got the chance to play Oblivion, or you were probably turned off by how dated the original Oblivion was and you just skipped over it. Or maybe you're one of those players that just sees how hyped everyone is about this game and you wanted to check out why everyone was so excited. So I'm going to try to avoid as many spoilers as possible. Oblivion can be a little overwhelming for a lot of new players, so hopefully this video will just kind of nudge you in the right direction. So as always, timestamps can be found below if you want to skip around in this video or if you want to skip over something that you just want to find out for yourself. And if this video helps you out at any point, then consider hitting the thumbs up button or maybe leaving a comment down below because it helps me out in the algorithm, and then that will hopefully push this video out to other new players that could also use the help. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first up, I want to talk about the Birthsigns. This is the first major choice in the game that will set up your character for your entire playthrough. These Birthsigns will provide you with a starting buff that will range anywhere from adding 50 points into magicka, giving you more endurance and strength, which in return will increase your carry weight, to even things like turning you invisible for 60 seconds once per day. Now, if you're a returning player, you can probably handle one of the more intricate or more complicated Birthsigns like the Apprentice, but if you're a brand new player, I would avoid any of the Birthsigns that come with any of the negative effects. So looking at the Apprentice, for example, it gives you 100 points of magicka, but it increases the damage that you take from magic by 100%. This Birthsign is probably for those mage players out there that want to be glass cannons. You'll be able to dish out a ton of magic damage, but you won't be able to take as much damage. And there are a crap ton of enemies in Oblivion that cast magic spells, so you'll be at a huge disadvantage if you pick something like this, and you might find it a bit frustrating when you find that you keep dying to all the enemies that cast magic. So if you're brand new to Oblivion, I recommend picking something that gives you just a straight up buff to your character, like the Steed or the Warrior, or in my case, I like to go with the Thief because it gives me 3 different buffs to 3 different useful skills that will all come in handy later. But that's just my recommendation for new players. Do whatever you want based off of your individual playstyle. So next up, I want to talk about your skills. These are things like blunt weapons, heavy armor, light armor, speechcraft, conjuration, restoration, athletics, etc. Like, you get the picture. Now, if you've played Skyrim, you know that to level up your skills, you had to use said skills. Well, in Oblivion, that's cranked up to 11. You level up your skills for doing basically anything. So this means you pretty much just want to spam any skills that you want to level up as much as possible. So for example, if you want to level up your acrobatics, just jump everywhere you go. I mean, like, just spam jump all the time, and you'll very quickly level up your acrobatics. You want to level up your restoration or your conjuration skills? Well, then just cast a healing spell all the time when you're exploring. Your magic meter replenishes over time, so you have nothing to lose by just spam casting spells when nothing is going on. When I'm traveling from place to place, say I'm walking through the woods or following a road, I'll just spam summon my little skeleton guy constantly to level up my conjuration skill. So you're only going to be hurting your own progress by not constantly spamming your abilities. Think of it as your character is just practicing in their free time. So spam, spam, spam all your skills to level them up quickly. And if you guys really like this video, I'll make another video going in depth on how to level up each individual skill quickly. So next up, I want to talk about fast travel. Now, unlike Skyrim, in Oblivion, you can fast travel to any of the major locations and cities that are marked on your map automatically right out of the tutorial area without having to discover them while you're going around and exploring. Now, this is a double-edged sword though, because while yes, you can just immediately leave the tutorial sewers and go straight to whatever city you want or just teleport straight to the main objective, I highly recommend, if you're a new player, that you just walk around and explore first. It's hard to keep track of where you've been and what you've already explored and seen in Oblivion, and there's a lot of hidden things on your map that isn't going to show up until you discover it. So if you immediately just start fast traveling everywhere, it can quickly lead to you getting overwhelmed. And when you start getting a million side quests from all the different cities and you see all the map icons pop up and you don't know if you've explored that icon yet or not, it can very quickly add up to be a lot, and it just looks like a big cluster, and it can turn off a lot of players. So just trust me, until you get the hang of things, just travel around without fast travel. You're going to find some pretty interesting things, I promise you. So up next, I want to talk about getting a horse. Now there's a couple different ways that you can get a horse in Oblivion. If you just stick with the main objective, you can actually get a horse pretty early on. But if for some reason you don't want to immediately just do the main objective and you want to go off exploring, having a horse is going to be just a lot more convenient and a lot faster than walking around everywhere on foot. And to get yourself a free horse, you can do it immediately after leaving the tutorial area. Just fast travel or walk all the way around the capital to the Chestnut Handy stables, and if you go inside the stables and talk to the orc that's working the stables, just ask if she has anything useful for you, and then say that you want some horse armor and a horse too, and then just say, I'll take any horse, I'm not fussy, and then there you go. She will outfit her old nag with some steel armor and give it to you free of charge. Now the next tip is for those of you looking for a place to stay and maybe store some of your goods in a chest or something. Now there are some player homes that you can get in the game. Some of them you can actually get pretty early. But for those of you that don't want to get a player home straight away and you kind of just want to play the game naturally the way that it was originally intended, as soon as you leave the tutorial area and you head towards the main objective and you head along the main road, you will come across the Ayleswell Inn. Now here you will start a small little side quest where all of the people in the inn were accidentally turned invisible. Now you have to go and solve the mystery and cure them, and then once you're able to complete this side quest, they will allow you to stay here at the Ayleswell Inn completely free of charge. You can sleep here whenever you want to sleep, and you can store any of your items here in this chest. So this is a good little starting location for those of you that don't want to immediately run off and get yourselves a player home. Next is a quick tip, and it's to simply ask anyone about rumors any chance you get, because anytime you ask about a rumor, odds are it's probably going to lead you to some sort of side objective that you wouldn't normally be able to activate unless you heard about the rumor. So asking about rumors is a great way to find yourself some additional content that you wouldn't normally be able to find. So next up, I want to talk about lockpicking, because a lot of people, for some reason, really struggle with the lockpicking in Oblivion. So when it comes to lockpicking, you have to move the lockpick, and you have to press up on the tumbler, and then you have to lock that tumbler in place. Now, if you have a high enough lockpicking skill, you can do the auto attempt, and it will just automatically unlock. But if you don't have a high enough skill in lockpicking, it's just going to immediately break the lockpick. So odds are, early on, you don't want to auto attempt the lock, because you're just going to waste your lockpicks. Only use the auto attempt once you've progressed a little bit more in the game and you have a higher lockpicking skill. So to set the tumbler, you kind of have to play around with the springs of each tumbler. Each individual tumbler is going to have a pattern, so you really want to take your time and go slowly and push up on each individual tumbler to get a feel for just how sticky each of those springs are. It might take you 3 or 5 attempts on each tumbler. Just push up on it and see how much resistance it gives. And then once you can tell that the spring is starting to get a bit sticky up towards the top, that's when you want to lock the tumbler in place. And you want to do this for every tumbler in the lock. Now you have to be careful though, because if you mess up the timing on any of the tumblers, it's going to reset the entire lock and break your lockpick. And then as you level up your lockpicking skill, these tumbler times will be a lot better, and they'll be a lot more stickier, meaning you can unlock a lot more locks a lot more reliably and a lot quicker. And since we're on the subject of minigames, I want to go ahead and explain the Persuasion minigame that you can use to gain disposition for different NPCs. Now, when you enter dialogue with most of the characters, you'll see down on the left-hand side the option to persuade them. Now, if you're rolling in gold, you can just give characters money and make them like you. This is what a lot of late-game players like to do, because the minigame can be a bit repetitive and it can get annoying. But until you get yourself a lot of gold, you're going to be stuck doing this persuasion wheel. So the way that this works is that you have to look at the NPC's face and match the amount of bars on the wheel with their reaction. So if they look angry, you want to try to get the least amount of bars as possible so it does the least amount of damage to their disposition. And if they look happy or excited, then you want to fill up as much as the bar as possible to make them happy with you. This can take some pre-planning because the wheel will always turn clockwise, and you can only choose each of the 4 options once. So if you can tell by their face that they're really going to enjoy a joke, then you want the full amount of bars on the joke side, and then the whole wheel will rotate, and then you have to try to get the small bars on the ones that will make them upset. It can be a bit tricky at first, but as you level up your speech, you will get the ability to rotate it additional times for free, and it will make this whole thing just way easier. This whole minigame can be annoying, but it is important because when you have high disposition with merchants, their prices will be a lot better for you when you're trying to haggle with them. And if guards have a high disposition of 91 or higher, then they won't arrest you if they catch you breaking the law. This is also important for some of the quests you have to do because some NPCs will unlock new dialogue options to help you progress further in the story, and any NPC that you talk to that has a high enough disposition will help aid you in battle anytime they see that you're under attack. So it's definitely a good idea to stay on everyone's good side, because you're going to get way more benefits from being nice to people than if everybody hates you. For the next few tips, I want to talk about all the different factions and how you can go about starting their quest lines. Now, each of the factions are going to grant you a bunch of really good benefits, and it's a good idea to, at the bare minimum, at least start some of the quests, even if you don't plan on doing them right away. For example, as soon as you join the Thieves Guild, you unlock a fence that will allow you to sell stolen items to them, which is a great way to make some easy gold. So to join the Thieves Guild, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is get caught stealing and then get thrown in jail. So just go to the nearest store in the capital, for example, run in, steal something real quick, then run outside and then let any of the guards catch you and then just volunteer to serve your time. Then once you serve your sentence, you'll wake up outside, you'll probably lose a skill point or two, and then just wait for a few hours, and then you will get a visit from this lady, and then she will give you a letter telling you to meet the Thieves Guild at midnight. Then just go to the location that it tells you and talk to this guy, and then just do whatever he asks, and then boom, you're in the Thieves Guild. It's really as simple as that. And then you will have full access to the fence for the rest of your playthrough. So it's definitely a good idea to do this as early as possible. The next faction is the Dark Brotherhood, and you can join the Dark Brotherhood questline by just killing pretty much any NPC that isn't essential. A good character that people like to kill is Olga, because she's not important to anything and she will just eventually respawn later in the game, and you can find her up in the city of Bruma, and you can find her in the house literally right in front of you when you spawn at the Bruma East Gate, and it's right beside the Fighters Guild. Just head inside and kill Olga, and then quickly just turn around and leave, and then just go sleep at the nearest inn. A Dark Brotherhood member will be there once you wake to basically start you on the Dark Brotherhood questline. Then if you want to join the Fighters Guild, just head clear over to the left-hand side of the map over at the city of Anvil. Right in front of the Anvil main gate, you will find the building for the Fighters Guild. Just head inside and talk to the different NPCs, and it's as simple as that. Just talk to, I think his name's Azan, and they will let you join the Fighters Guild as long as you don't have any active bounties on you. And then lastly, to join the Mages Guild, you could do so by going to any of the major cities and just going into the Mage Guild building and simply just asking to join, and they will allow you to join. Then once you join the Mages Guild, if you want to get access to the Arcane University, you're going to have to go to each of the guild leaders in each of the cities and get a letter of recommendation from every single one of them. And you can speed up this process by eventually when you go and you unlock one of the player homes up at Frostcrag Spire. It's clear on top of a mountain, and once you unlock this player home, you can easily fast travel to each of the Mage Guild locations and simply just talk to them and get the letters fairly quickly. And then the last thing that I recommend that you guys check out is the arena fights in the Imperial District. Now, this isn't a faction, but you can basically just come here and do arena fights over and over and over, and this is both a great way to make gold, because the more that you win, the more gold you're going to get, so the more you progress in this little storyline. I think you can get upwards of like 500 gold once you start to win in those late game matches, which is a great way to make gold, and this is also a really good way to level up your combat skills. So anytime I need to level up something in particular, like blocking or magic or my armor, for example, I will just go in and do these fights in the arena, and this is just one of the best ways in the game to level up those combat skills while also making a decent amount of profit. And that is going to do it for everything in my beginner's tips and tricks guide for Oblivion Remastered. If you guys enjoyed this video, then consider giving me a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated and it helps me out in the algorithm. And if you guys really enjoyed this video, then consider becoming a channel member so you get some additional bonuses when I do live streams, and you get some additional videos that I make specifically for members. And if you guys really enjoyed this video, you can always just go down and give a super thanks down in the comment section. Super thanks are always appreciated, and that's just a good way of helping out the channel. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss out on any future videos. And that is going to do it for me, and I will talk to you all next time.